Alright, so a lot of people wonder what's the big deal with this Drobo. Drobo's been around for many, many years, and they have a proprietary raid system that nobody else has come up with. And I'll explain why to me, I think it's really cool. Typical raid, you have your 4 or 5 drives to basically make up your array. I started 10 years ago with one of these 4-bay Drobos. And what I did is you just put the little thing in here, you drag the drive in. The biggest drive I had was 500 gigs. So I put 200, a 200, a 500, and a 500. For this example, I can't even show you that low storage because they don't even list it because nobody's stupid enough to put a 200 gigabyte. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag 4 1-terabyte drives in here. And you can see you have about 3 terabytes of space. This is a typical RAID, all the same drive size, and you lose a little space because that one extra drive is for redundancy in case one fails. Okay? So my point is, you got 4 terabytes raw space, you get about 2.72. But here's what's different between this Drobo and like a Synology or QNAP or your homemade shit or even a Dell file server. Let's assume you ran out of space. You're now getting close to filling your 2.72 terabytes. Okay, great. What do I do now? Shoot. Okay, I'll buy a drive when I have the money. I'll buy a 2 terabyte. Did you see something? It didn't change in space. It's still 2.72. Let's add another one. Okay, now we got 3.63. Still not as much, but as you add more on, it basically keeps getting bigger and bigger. Now, what's different about this situation is that if you had all 1 terabyte drives in there, you'd have to take all of this data, what is the total? The 2.72, back up all that shit to another drive, then eject all the drives, throw in you have to buy 4 2 terabyte drives all at once, right? And then restore it all back. And that would take days back in the day with USB speed, And that was ridiculous. So what the Drobo allows you to do is, and this is important, is eject 1 disk only. Okay? And it'll say it's failed or whatever. Drag in a bigger drive. Wait for it to finish its thing. It'll take, 19 hours or some shit. Then, okay, it's done. Never pull more than 1 drive at a time. Do the second one. Let it do its thing. And just keep repeating this process slowly over a course of a few days. 1 at a time, by the way, not 2. I went from 1 terabyte to 11 terabytes. And I didn't have to back it up. I didn't have to erase anything. I didn't have to buy 4 drives at once. So that is amazing. And nobody else has come up with that idea. There's a risk with all raids that you lose your shit. But let me show you. They didn't have 14 terabyte drives up until, to do this configuration would cost $700, $1,400, $3,000 at least. 50 terabytes. And that's just now. They're coming out with 20 terabyte drives. I'm somewhere around here. I've got 3. I think I have a 6. Is that right? Another 3. Yeah. So there I'm at right now. And as drives get cheaper, I'll say, this is what happened to me just the other day. That died. And I didn't really lose space because it was redundant, but what I could do is, I would take the smaller drive out. So let me show you the difference here. 13.61, eject. Put a 4 in there, just a little bit bigger. 14.52. Get rid of the other 3. 15.43. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And that is the beauty of the Drobo. You expand at your rate, at your budget. But the problem is Backing up 15.43 terabytes, in this case, which is an example, is a bitch. You know, you either have to have another Drobo or, I don't know, a big ass drive which doesn't exist. The biggest they have is 14 terabytes. I mean, some people, they don't need 5 drives. They could just take, you know, you could take 3 14 terabytes. And by the way, it doesn't matter where you put them, at least not initially. 3 14 terabyte drives is 25.42. Eject one, it's 12.71. But as you add them in, it exponentially goes up in space. Now, if you really want to get crazy, you can do dual disk redundancy. So if you put all drives in here, you got 50.84 terabytes. I don't know how the hell you would back that up. This is ridiculous. One drive fails, you don't lose anything. It's fine. The space would not go down. It still would be 50 terabytes. It would bitch and say, hey, I need a drive. I need a drive right away. Hit dual disk redundancy, you drop by 10 terabytes. Well, what does that mean? It means that 2 drives could take a shit. 3 drives are running everything until you get 2 new drives. You could do that, but that you lose a lot of space. So that's the beauty of the Drobo. I mean, money. If money were no object, you should get one of these bad boys and just load this sucker up. And this is just this month is 14 terabytes. I'll be honest with you. I've been watching the drive prices, and everything below below 8 is above 8 is not going down in price. 87 terabytes is the maximum you can get right now. Okay. But these 8 terabyte drives, by the way, are still like over 100 and something. It's ridiculous. It's just too expensive. That's the beauty of Drobo. The lesson is always keep your shit backed up. Either have another Drobo or a series of really large drives. I managed to get my data. They were very, very professional helping me getting my data back. I will be a customer for life as long as they keep adding in these bigger drives, and I don't have to keep reformatting my shit and backing it up. Should I say, starting over, recreating the RAID from scratch. It's just too much time, too much work, and too much money all at once. So I thank Drobo for making this technology beyond RAID, and now you understand why I like this technology so much, because it's a storage robot, pretty much. It basically does all the work underneath. You don't have to worry about it, and it's good. Now my problem was I use cheap ass drives. Don't use Seagate. My recommendation is Western Digital. They've always been good to me. Seagates take a shit all over the place, so it's my own fault. But I got my data back. I'm happy.